With regards to religious freedom, we see a huge push by rather radical lobby groups.
Christian beliefs are seen as a taboo. It's not an appropriate justification for a policy, or it's not an appropriate argument to support a position that you might hold.
The legal landscape 10 years ago was a lonely, lonely place. There wasn't a lot of us out there fighting for the ground.
There's a huge political debate about issues such as religious freedom, marriage and family, life questions. We have a huge political push to the liberal edges, really, of all these topics.
At the European Union level, they were passing, it seemed, every 6 months declarations promoting abortion.
For whatever reason, we spent decades not getting engaged, not really noticing what was going on. ADF International operates in the international institutions that exist around the world, that is the United Nations, the European Court of Human Rights, the European Union, and we quickly got to work on a number of legal cases and legal matters and saw a great deal of success once we engaged.
The way we've been able to marshal support and alliances at every level, we've had so many cases that have impacted the culture.
ADF International is present at the United Nations to serve and to assist member states that are working tirelessly for the protection of human life and the fundamental value of the family. We are not at the UN to impose an agenda of our own. Instead, we are there to work alongside member states to protect and to promote these fundamental values that the UN was created to do.
We want to be able to inform people, we want to be able to resource people, to be able to give people the arguments, the tools that they need to respond to these challenges, that say there is a consensus.
As a former UN diplomat, I can say that it's important to have strong and healthy civil society collaborating with the different nations of the world. That's one of the purposes of ADF International in Geneva and in New York.
Seeing where we were 10 years ago to where we are now, it's amazing to imagine the possibilities of where we'll be in 10 years.
We see that citizens wake up more and more. We have some governments that wake up more and more. Yes, it's a minority, of course, but if you look in history, it was never a majority who changed things. It was always coming out of a minority, out of a creative minority, of course, and a well-trained minority. But it's a minority that will set the trend.
Familia este unitatea de bază a societății, care are dreptul de a fi protejată de societate și de stat. Ceea ce vedem noi în Europa este o tensiune din ce în ce mai crescândă între valorile tradiționale, între căsătorie și un efort de a redefini căsătoria în multe părți ale Europei. Acest lucru dă naștere la tensiuni, în special dacă ne uităm la jurisprudența Curții Europene a Drepturilor Omului, la ceea ce se întâmplă în spațiile naționale.
Regarding marriage, we see that there is a debate on everywhere, in basically the entire Western world. What is at stake here? I think we need to first understand what do we debate. Do we debate that we have marriage and now we just want to extend that right to people who do not have access to marriage? That is how it is presented in the public debate. I think we are talking about something else, and we need to talk about something else. It is not an extension of a right, it is an effort to preserve a union between a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, a mother and a father, that is the best, smallest group unit for a society.
ADF International a susținut și susține că bărbații și femeile aduc lucruri distincte în căsătorie și astfel încurajează și recomandă ferm statelor membre să protejeze unitatea aceasta naturală a căsătoriei. Am avut o intervenție și la Curtea Constituțională a României în acest sens. Am recomandat, iarăși spun ferm, României să protejeze în Constituția sa căsătoria ca uniune dintre un bărbat și o femeie, restatuând acest adevăr, faptul că bărbații și femeile aduc lucruri distincte și de neînlocuit în cadrul căsătoriei.
For many different reasons, people cannot form that union. You know, it's not just to say we deny people to love each other, we deny people to formalize their love.
Legile privind căsătoria nu au fost niciodată un instrument de a reglementa viața amoroasă a cetățenilor. Și, de fapt, cred că nimeni nu consideră că oricine se poate căsători cu oricine. În legi există deja limitări ale dreptului de a te căsători, care trec dincolo de orientarea sexuală, de sexul partenerilor. De exemplu, nu te poți căsători cu un minor chiar dacă îl iubești. Nu poți să te căsătorești în același timp cu mai multe persoane, chiar dacă spui că le iubești. Nu poți să te căsătorești cu o rudă foarte apropiată, astfel că vedem că deja legea impune anumite reguli în cadrul cărora căsătoria să se poată desfășura.
If we redefine marriage, we say marriage is not anymore that union, that unique union, lifelong union of a man and a woman, husband and a wife, mother and a father, but it is a union of two people who love each other. And then why two? Why not three? Why not four? Why not a household? So we have to understand, I think, when we talk about marriage, that something very fundamental is at stake. It's not just a little extension of a law, it's a fundamental redefinition from one thing to something else. And we have to ask the question, how is the state, is it the government's business to formalize love between people?
As ADF International, we do care about family and marriage a lot. And mainly because we do believe in the Christian concept of the human being. And also, and this is probably also a very personal opinion that I share with our organization, we do care about the children. I myself have 4 children, and they're still very young, but it is my wish and my great hope that they are entitled to grow up in a Europe that is free and that preserves the values that we also see in the human rights, the values of life, the values of a right to a family, the rights of children to have a mother and a father. And that is why we also believe that we have to advocate for a concept of family that involves children with their father and their mother.
Nu există nicio obligație de redefinire a căsătoriei. S-a tot vehiculat în presă și din diverse voci, din diverse părți, că această întărire a căsătoriei în Constituția României ar încălca principiul nediscriminării, dreptul la viață privată. Acest lucru chiar nu este adevărat. Dacă ne uităm la cauzele de la Curtea Europeană a Drepturilor Omului, precum Schalk și Kopf versus Austria, acolo Curtea a spus foarte clar că statele membre pot să restrângă, pot să limiteze definirea căsătoriei la persoanele de sex opus. Ele au această marjă de apreciere să facă acest lucru și astfel nu putem să vorbim despre o încălcare a drepturilor fundamentale.
We see, especially in situations where you ask the people through a referendum, what do you want? Do you want to preserve this union? Do you think that this is the best thing we should preserve for society? This is the ideal we should uphold? or do you want to redefine it and really put an end to what marriage was for centuries and, you know, create something completely different? When you give the thought to the people to express their views in referenda, you have, in every example except one, Ireland, in every other example, the vast majority of people say, no, we want to preserve marriage. That's interesting. That's not so visible in the public debate, but that is very interesting because that means that there are considerable amounts of people who actually understand what is at stake.
Legislația europeană este foarte clară în acest domeniu și anume statele membre sunt libere să legifereze, să definească căsătoria în spațiul lor național. Dacă ne uităm, de exemplu, la cauzele de la Curtea de Justiție a Uniunii Europene, la Curtea Europeană a Drepturilor Omului, există nenumărate dăți în care aceste două curți supranaționale au spus că statele au așa numita marjă de apreciere, de suveranitatea națională, de a defini căsătoria. De aceea vedem poate și tendințe diferite la nivelul statelor membre, unele state care întăresc căsătoria tradițională, deși până la urmă nici măcar nu trebuie să o numim astfel, căsătoria ca unitate de bază, pe când alte state o redefinesc. Există o libertate în acest sens și cred că trebuie să fim foarte fermi și foarte preciși când afirmăm că nu există nicio obligație la nivelul Uniunii Europene ca statele membre să redefinească căsătoria.
In Romania, you have the same question now on the table. So my wish is that Romania has a sincere debate on what is at stake in this question. Because we see that when you deliberately deny a child, a mother and a father, that's what you do when you redefine marriage. You see that you say the child grows up as well without her mother, without her father. You know, replace the mother by another man, replace the father by another woman. That is just exactly the same for the child. But we know from all social science that children grow up best with their father and their mother. And so Romania has to have this debate, are we really willing to give up this ideal setting of children to grow up? We know that there is marriage failure, that families break up. That is tragic. We know that. But should we go from one failure to another and say, okay, now we institutionalize that failure? We basically institutionalize that family breakdown, if you will, and say, well, it's actually not that important for children. So Romania needs to have that debate, and we hope that Romania has a sincere debate and not one that is driven by actually reasons that are not reasons for that debate. It is not about formalizing love, and is not about excluding people from rights. It is about preserving marriage, which is the fundamental group unit of a good and healthy society.
ADF International operates in the international institutions that exist around the world, that is the United Nations, the European Court of Human Rights, the European Union. And we quickly got to work on a number of legal cases and legal matters and saw a great deal of success once we engaged.
The way we've been able to place, there wasn't a lot of us out there fighting for the ground.
There's a huge political debate about issues such as religious freedom, marriage and family, life questions. We have a huge political push to the liberal edges, really, of all these topics.
At the European Union level, they were passing, it seemed, every 6 months declarations promoting abortion.
For whatever reason, we spent decades not getting engaged, not really noticing what was going on.
And the fundamental value of the family. We are not at the UN to impose an agenda of our own. Instead, we are there to work alongside member states to protect and to promote these fundamental values that the UN was created to do.
We want to be able to inform people, we want to be able to resource people.
with regards to religious freedom, we see a huge push by rather radical lobby groups.
Christian beliefs are seen as a taboo. It's not an appropriate justification for a policy, or it's not an appropriate argument to support a position that you might hold.
The legal landscape 10 years ago was a lonely, martial support and alliances at every level. We've had so many cases that have impacted the culture.
ADF International is present at the United Nations to serve and to assist member states that are working tirelessly for the protection of human life